Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome again back to the Earth, our Mudfossil Gaia. Chapter 4. The External Sea, the Ocean, and the Wonders it Contains. It is said that the throne of Iblis, close to the dark sea, is supported by a troop of devils and evil spirits who are employed in this endeavor, and is surrounded by evil jinn who are under obedience to him. These veil him and never leave him, while there are others that disperse at his command. But none leaves his place to encourage a sinner in his rebellion or seduce a saint. There are also all the other minions of Iblis who disperse among men to lead them astray. The prison of Iblis is said to be the island of Sa. There he is incarcerated with the jinn and Satans, who followed him. In this sea, there is also the temple of the prophet Solomon, containing his body. It is a beautiful palace built on an island. One can still see craters that never cease to eject fire to the height of 100 cubits. Long fish, each of several days, of wonderful aspects, various shapes, and colors in all hues. Cities that float on the water and which flee from sailors. The 3 idols erected by Abaraha, one yellow, motioning with her hand as if she were giving it the order to those who came near her to move away. The second green, raising her hands extended as if she meant to point or where one needs to go. The third, black with curly hair, pointing to the sea as if to say, "He who disregards will be wrecked." She wears on her chest the inscription, "Work of Abaraha Dul Manar the Homerite, dedicated to his lord the sun." It is also said that one can see a type of fortress that rise from the water and which appear in various forms, which then sink into the water. The deep sea is variable. There are places where one touches or knows the depths, others of 7,000 fathoms and more and less, and still others where trees grow like coral. The Black Sea is made of pitch, joins the outer sea. It is very fetid. There one may find the citadel of silver that some say is artificial and others say is natural. The ocean detaches itself from the China Sea, which begins at the west to the Sea of Fars and extends to the country of China. It is a narrow sea from which we extract pearls. The Persian Gulf is intended. They say it contains 2,800 islands. It is the vortex, the d'ordure, where the water turns. When a ship is taken, it runs until it is submerged. Nearby lie the 2 mountains, Qusair and Ussuair. This sea has many marvels, species of colorful snakes, some of which reach a length of 100 cubits and 200 fathoms more or less, and devour one another. Mines where one may find gold growing on branches, and mines of gems. 300 populated and cultivated islands where many kings reign. It is said that this sea contains a crystal palace high upon a rock, lit by a candelabra that will never extinguish. Then comes a sea whose bottom cannot be reached, and of which is unknown width. Vessels pushed by a good wind can make it through in less than 2 months. It is the largest body that depends on the outer sea, and there is none more formidable. There are mines of emeralds and plants and bamboo canes. Its fish will reach a length of about 400 cubits, but there are little ones too of just a cubit. When these fish grow to excessive size and harm another fish of the sea in ships, small fish have power against them, and do fear that they shall kill them. Most often, big fish avoid these waters for fear of the small fish. In the same sea are fish whose faces resemble that of a man who shows himself in the water, winged fish that fly at night to eat the grass on the shore and plunge back into the sea before sunrise, a fish whose venom is used for form writing, legible at night, a green fish whose fat is such that anyone who has eaten of it refuses to take food for several days so as to not lose the taste, a fish that has 2 horns similar to the antennae of crayfish and who throws fire at night, a round fish called the mash, having on his back a sort of sharp edge. No other fish can resist it because it of this on its back and a horn in front, which kills. Sometimes it pierces vessels. His horn is yellow like gold and grooved. A fish called half-fish, covered with a kind of armor around its eyes and head, and extending over almost its entire body. It is elongated like a snake, 20 cubits long, and equipped with needles arranged like the teeth of a file from its chest to the tip of its tail. It embraces everything it encounters, and everything that its tail embraces dies. They say that its flesh heals all diseases, but it is rarely found. Finally, this sea produces Ambergris. The Sea of Harkand, the Bay of Bengal, follows, containing many islands. Here one might encounter a fish on the back of which sometimes grows grass and seashells. Sometimes sailors moor their ships on it because they take it for an island, but when they recognize the truth, they pull back. Sometimes this fish deploys one of the 2 wings it has on its back. When the head comes out of the water, it looks like a large mountain. When its tail comes out of the water, it looks like a large lighthouse. When the sea is calm, it attracts fish with its tail, and then it opens its mouth and reveals its throat like a well. It is called the Gondor. It is 300 cubits long. Sailors dread it. They bang on the clapper at night so it does not come near to damage and capsize their ships. Also found in this sea are large snakes. They come out of the water and go into the desert where they swallow elephants. They wrap themselves around rocks, hiding in their cavities. They utter a frightening hiss. One may meet yet another snake, which they call Al-Malaka, the queen, who never appears once. The kings of Zenge use cunning to seize it. It is cooked until its fat melts. The king is anointed to increase his strength and agility. The skin of this snake, which is tiger-striped, is made into a carpet. The consumptive who sits on it is healed of consumption. The healthy person is insured against it forever. Sometimes fish of this type arrive in India, where the kings used them for their hide and to guard their treasure. The wind in this sea blows from its depths. Sometimes the tempest projects a fire that spreads an intense light. The fourth sea is called Dawanyid. It is separated from the Sea of Harkand by many islands. By one account, 1,900 islands. Ambergris is abundant between the islands. They use large chunks as houses. This ambergris grows like a plant at the bottom of the sea, and when the agitation of the waves is great, it is ejected from the bottom and rises to the surface like bitumen and warm water. This is the fat called ambergris. I read in the book of medicine of Ibrahim ibn al-Mahdi that Ahmed ibn Hafs al-Hattar, I'm trying, guys, I'm sorry, said, I went into a meeting with Abu Shak. He heated up ambergris that was already melted, and there issued from it some dry grass in the shape of birds' beaks. He asked me my impression. This is, I said, the beaks of birds that eat ambergris, which is excreted by the beasts of burden. Abu Ishaq laughed and said, this is the belief of the vulgar. But God has not created a beast of burden which excretes ambergris. Ambergris is simply a substance that is found at the bottom of the sea. Previously, Rashid had resolved the issue of ambergris. He instructed Hamad, the Berber, to seek a solution. This person wrote that he had learned from many inhabitants of Aden that ambergris came from sources in the bottom of the sea, and the wind threw it up with the waves. Similarly, the land of Rum, i.e. Romania, the Byzantine Empire, came out of the Rumi tar. Tartar? The last island in this sea is that of Sarandib, Sri Lanka, in the Sea of Harkand. This is the main island among all of these islands. On it, there are many deposits of pearls and precious stones. In the Sea of Sarandib are paths between mountains that lead to the country of China. In the mountains of the sea, there are gold mines and pearl deposits. Here we can see wild oxen and various kinds of animals. We might travel through this sea to the land of Maharaj. Often the clouds darken this region for days and nights. Rain falls there continually, and neither the fish nor the beasts show themselves at all. From there, we go to the Sea of Senif, or the Gulf of Thailand, or Tail Land, where the aloe tree is located. We do not know who lives there. The origin of this sea is near to the dark north. We also pass from the same region to the country of Wak, where the king lives on islands called the Maharaj. The islands and provinces of his kingdom are countless, and a sailor that would tour them for several years could not see them all. This king has a quantity of medicinal species: camphor, clove, sandal, walnuts, mace, kakila, and aloes. No other king possesses as much. It is said that in this sea is a white castle that moves on the water and that sometimes appears to sailors before dawn. They rejoice when they see it because it presages their salvation, their gain, and their fortune. There is also the island of Bratal, which contains inhabited mountains, where by night and by day, timpani, drums, and unknown sounds can be heard. The faces of its inhabitants are like shields of double leather, and their ears are slit. Most sailors agree that the Dajjal, the Antichrist, lives on the island, and that he will emerge from it when his time comes. They sell clothes that traders buy from invisible merchants. In the same sea is Al-Baraka, brilliant. It is a great city in glowing white stone where one might hear shouts and songs but see no people. Sailors sometimes are driven down there and have taken of its waters, which they found to be white and clear and have a sweet taste with the odor of camphor. There is also an island with shining houses and white domes. Sailors, seeing these, want to reach them, but they recede as the sailors approach, and in the end they disappear altogether, and the sailors therefore turn back. This sea joins the Wak. Sailors say they do not know its end, unless it is marked by a mountain where day and night there burns a fire, which burns so ardently that it makes a sound like the rolling of thunder. Sometimes one hears in that fire sounds that portend for the people of the region the death of their kings or some great personage. One cannot reach the bottom of the sea in this place. After the Sea of Senth, which we have spoken, comes the South China Sea, an unpleasant and cold sea, one colder than any other. It is said that the wind blows from its depths and that it's inhabited by a people living in the bosom of the water. Sailors that have visited these parts say that at night, when the sea is stirred by the wind, these individuals appear and climb up into their ships. This never takes place, moreover, when the sea is stormy. The sailors say that they do not know of any navigable sea beyond the South China Sea. There is only an ocean, which extends indefinitely, whose water is not like that of any other seas. In the China Sea, one may see a fish similar to a firebrand. The water throws it up on the shore, and when the water has receded, the fish remains in the mud. It then shakes itself for half a day, and as a result of this agitation, it becomes armed with a wing and drives this fish, with which it turns itself around and flies away. It is estimated that the width of the country of China, which the ships travel over, is 1,500 parasangs. There is a fish in this sea called lahom, which eats men. Often when they throw dead sailors into the water, the fish of this species swallow them. Also, one may see a great face, like a human face, but larger, rounded, and of the color of the moon, which covers the space between two mountains. China's gates are in this sea. They are the slots between the mountains. It is said that in the city of Bakmila, which is the former Constantinople, there is a church under the water. The ebbing water uncovers it for one day of the year, and the people from the surrounding area come to it on pilgrimage. They prepare in advance. They stay there for the day, and then disperse. They bring their elders toward the sunset. The water starts to return, and they withdraw in a hurry. Water resubmerges the church and covers it until the following year. Coral is found particularly in the Sea of Spain, at the bottom of which it grows like a tree. To grasp the branches, one uses this method. One attaches a wire to a line of hemp that is weighed down with lead. One then lowers the line until it reaches the coral. Then one pulls on it by advancing the ship, and the branches cling to right and left, so that one knows that the hook is attached. Then one raises the line and takes the coral. They export large quantities to the Hejaz, India, and China. In the same sea, there is a lot of ambergris. There is also a fish whose flesh has aphrodisiac properties, and another which has the shape of a human being. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to skip over a little bit here. You guys, I'm going to leave the link. You can go read all this for yourself. Islands of the Green Sea, Ptolemy. Ha, here it is. The Island of the Dragon, Altinen, contains mountains, rivers, and crops. It is inhabited. Above its capital stands a tall fortress, residence of a huge dragon that devoured men. It is said that Alexander landed at this island, and its people begged him to rescue them. It is reported that every day they left 2 bowls a short distance from the palace, so that when the dragon emerged from the forest, he would take the 2 bowls and return home and recommence the next day. Alexander said to the people, "Show me his lair." In the morning, they took him to a commanding position. They laid out the 2 bowls, and the dragon appeared, like a black cloud, with eyes bright like lightning and fire coming out of his insides. He devoured the 2 bowls and returned to his lair. Alexander then flayed 2 big bowls and filled their skins with pitch, sulfur, plaster, and arsenic, and mingled this with paste, harpoons, and iron pins. He then made the deposit in the same place. The dragon came as usual, devoured the bait, and left. But he had barely moved when all these materials mixed in his stomach, and he fell to the ground without being able to move, breathing with an open mouth. Alexander ordered that reddened pieces of iron be set upon iron tables and launched into the dragon's throat. The monster died on the spot, and the country regained peace. They celebrated the death of the dragon, and the people thanked Alexander and offered him what they most valued. Among the presents they gave him was a beast of the figure of a hare with yellow forepaws of the brilliance of gold, and they called it Mirage. This beast had on its head a single black horn. Lions, tigers, birds, wild beasts, and all the animals fled before it. That sounds like the China unicorn, which is more dragon-like than it is horse-like. Very cool. So you guys can continue to read on. This is quite detailed, and it keeps going. I'm going to keep reading, and if I find some more stories like this one here, of the Island of the Dragon, I'll share some more with you guys. But right now, let me take you and show you some of these things that I think I have found on Google Earth. Okay, so we'll start here with what I believe could be the half fish, the one that has the plated armor about halfway down its body and the spikes that run all the way up and down. So yeah, when I heard that in the story, I was like, I've seen something in the ocean that looks just like that. Yeah, so this could be that giant half fish. And then there's a part where it talks about a place where there are all types of giant serpent creatures that devour one another. Well, one of the first things I noticed way back when I started looking at the mud fossils was this stuff right here. I'm trying to find the best angle to show you the scene because it's quite gruesome. So let me give you an outline. Better color. So right here, Indonesia and the Philippines and stuff, and that goes all the way up into Thailand. This is the reason I call it Tail Land, okay? Because this guy looks like some kind of big Komodo dragon. Here, let me get a better outline on that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you can kind of see his eyes there. But he's got the like teeth, the rows of teeth, just like all the other serpent heads do. Only it's kind of like he's got something he's ripping out of his mouth here. It's like stretched in right here. And it almost looks like he has an arm coming up, grasping something that's in his mouth, right? Well, over here, this one is more of like the cobra shaped naga. I think this one had maybe 3 or possibly 5 heads, because I think this is another one over here. And you can see how the skin is stretched right there, right? And it almost looks like this might be the head right here that got ripped off. And then right here you can see it's like spitting at this dragon, attacking this dragon. Or it could be a head from this one over here. We have another big like serpent head here, and it looks like another one here, and this looks like it's probably the one that's got all the trauma. And then I can't really give you the outline from here, but there are more that come up like this, and it almost looks like, it reminds me of like Lotan, because these ones look like they're severed. And so yeah, it could be Lotan that Hercules, you know, the Hydra that Hercules slayed. So I don't know. Yeah, big gruesome scene of a bunch of serpents devouring one another, just like it says in the story. That's crazy. This one even here looks like another head to this guy. And when I count them, when you go down here, I think he's got like 7 of them. See, there's the one there, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But yeah, these ones look like, you know, like they had heads on them, but maybe they're severed ones, you know. And then this is his big belly. And I think it's got like a big fish type tail. If you look right here, it kind of comes down like this. So it would be like a big water hydra. Yeah. And then the Gondor, there's this really strange land formation here. I'm going to draw you what I see. I'm not sure if this could be the Gondor, but I'll show you a few reasons why I think maybe. All right. So, okay, and see, it's like mouth right there. I think this is one of his eyes. In the pictures, they're always spouting. They've got these two big spouts coming off their head right there. And then there's always this ripply collar around their neck. Okay? And he even looks almost like striped or something. You can see these striations going all the way up and down him. Right where the fin should be, there at the bottom, it flares out. Okay? It's like all the right parts in all the right places. Again, you know, and you could even see how his skin right here stretches a little, you know, stretch lines. It looks just like one of those. I don't know. I mean, look at this ripple there. That is so strange how you've even got that zigzaggy collar on the neck, right where it should be. It has those two spouts coming off the head, right? Mouth right where it should be. Very strange. Very strange. And it even looks like the patterns change. Like right here you can see the lines kind of go this way, right? And then up here they're going this way. And yeah, very strange. And then what else? There's so many things out here. You guys should go look at this. This ocean, all these little blobs of stuff, I think they're all probably sea creatures. Just like on the maps, you know, probably even to scale, you know? They're probably, yeah. The maps are probably even showing the real size of them. And the one I wanted to show you, half-fish. This is another one that looks like another half-fish. Or some sort of water dragon. There's his head, and he's got the spiky things that go all the way up and down his body. He's got this really cool fin that hangs down there. I don't know. Looks like a sea serpent of some sort. And then there's another one right here. This thing's kind of cool looking. It's almost not really a hammerhead. I'll throw a picture up of the one I think it looks like. But you can see the shape comes around like that, and he's got these like antenna things. So yeah, pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, this ocean is full of them, guys. Go have a look for yourself. It's lots of fun. I could probably go on and show you guys these crazy things out in the ocean all day. So I'm gonna stop this one here, and I'm gonna start doing some live streams. So you might see a few test runs go up. So if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and make sure that bell is ringing so you can be notified when I go live. I'm probably going to be going over a few comments and answering some questions in the live chat. So if you have any questions you would like me to go over, make sure that your notifications are turned on so that you can join us. I will also be going over some of the things that you can look forward to coming up, such as giveaways, live stream hangouts with other channels, custom merchandise, and a whole lot more. So, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again real soon.